Well, I hear you guys mentioning a lot about the feedback you've been getting. One thing I noticed when I was looking at some of the websites is it seems like things are moving even past just the podcast or the video cast, and there's some community building going on at some of your sites. You want to talk a little bit about that and how that, why you're doing that, and how that interacts with your podcast?
Well, when we started, we had a private forum that just like the guys on the show could, because before we started doing the podcast, we didn't get together as regularly as we do now, so it was a way for us to keep in touch. And then we started the show, and we said, what do you think about if we open up a forum for everyone? We said, all right, you know, what the heck. And so we got some people. And then we got some more people. And we kind of said right from the beginning, and Chris, you were there very early on, where we said, we're not going to be every other forum on the internet. We're going to be nice. We're going to have no flaming, none of that stuff. It's prohibited, right? And we're going to...
You know why I got banned?
Yeah. And then, so as new people joined, they kind of went, wow, this is amazing, it's actually nice. And then they stayed there, and then they kept joining. And then people became friends, and they're PMing each other without being involved with us, and then they're getting together and going out together. I mean, Chris, you guys, you know,
around comics, one of the initial seeds of that was CGS Chicago.
Right, it was so cool. I remember seeing those pictures of you guys in the bars. I mean, that was awesome. Like, these guys are like friends now, only because they met on the forum. And then it just exploded to where we have, you know, thousands of members. I mean, not all of them are active or whatever, but, you know, a lot of them get together regularly. I mean, and this, like, these guys in the room here, the CGS West Coast, and they make badges for each other for the conventions, and they meet up, and we go out to dinner, and I mean, that's awesome, and it feeds upon itself, and it's just this huge community that I never imagined would exist, never. And that really, that's the best part of the show is that community.
Yeah, I mean that was the biggest surprise for us, because for anybody who doesn't know our history, like we started at fanboy.com in 2000, partially similar to what you guys are doing. We had an email list with our friends, and so we said, you know, I work, my day job is web stuff, really boring. But I said, you know, why don't we turn this list into a website? It would be great if our friends could talk on this website, very similar to that. So we put up the website, and our friends stopped coming, and nobody else came. Actually, we had one guy from Florida who just would come and post once a week, and he kept us going literally for 5 years. But then we started doing our audio podcast in 2005, and then people started coming to the website, and they started staying, they started commenting, they started emailing us.
I remember the first time people had conversations with themselves that we had nothing to do with. I was like, oh my God, look it, we're not doing it.
Yeah. And so, you know, and then we extended that out to the video show, and we added our forums, and the forums, like Brian said, literally exploded to the point where, like, I can't keep up. Like, I mean, like, I'm notorious, like, Connor and Josh, they kind of post way more than me, but I go and I read, and I'm like, there literally would be hundreds of posts since I last checked, and I find it shocking. And then we start going to conventions and see people, we meet people at parties, people come to these kind of panels, stuff like that, and then people meet up with each other, and they're doing the same kind of thing, and it's amazing to think that you're the focal point to do that, and honestly, that's what makes it, you know, whenever I get kind of tired of doing it, it's just like, yeah, but I know that, you know, these few hundred people are waiting for it, and I don't want to let them down. So yeah, so it's really cool. Never imagined in a million years that that's what would happen.
But it also works both ways in that we've gotten show ideas from people on the website and the forums. Why don't you guys do a show on this? And we think, yes, why don't we do that show?
Because we're running out of ideas.
Contact@fanboy.com.
So I mean, there's a bit of they have a bit of a hand in the shows as well, which builds the community feel, because they're not just audience participating in it also. So that's.
We don't have a community. No, we don't have a community. We have a fan base. The thing about that I've really enjoyed is we've been getting to meet other podcasters, which is great, and sort of sharing the community of people who listen to comics podcasts, because most people listen to more than one. I think we all found that people have their list, right? That they all listen to different ones, and it's fun knowing that you're being heard along with other folks that are getting this wide variety. And the only community that I really feel in touch with are people who share sort of the more feminist or outsider viewpoints. So I really enjoy participating in discussions with people like the women who run When Fangirls Attack places. So that's a little more specialized than just comics in general. And in any community, that's pretty much it. And the people in the queer community as well, I think.
We love our forum. We love the interaction we have, but it's something I think a couple of folks had mentioned down the road is kind of the friendships that have been developed because of this crazy, silly show about funny books that we do. I talk to Ron probably once a week. I talk to Chris Marshall from Collected Comics Library weekly. I talk to David Price from Marvel Noise and Vince B from who I met through the CGS forums and did Bullpen Bulletin. I mean, these are guys that I call just to chit-chat with. Maybe not about comics, maybe just about general life stuff. There are the listeners that we've had, folks that I've met for the first time, you know, in the last couple of days that know my voice from the last 2 years, and I've never met them face to face. And I have all these great friendships that have been cultivated because of this. And you know, whenever I come to, I'm in San Francisco. I've never been west of the Rockies. You know how exciting this is for me, and it's because I get together with a group of friends on Friday night and drink beer and talk about comics. And the communities are the ones that help bring that to fruition. Ron emails me and says, "Dude, come out to WonderCon." Well, you know, I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna sit on your floor, give me show me where the cheap plane ticket is." He's like, "Yeah, okay, here."
Yeah, I actually did. I found your plane ticket, didn't I?
Yeah, my plane ticket. But yeah, those friendships, whether they're through email or forum posts or phone calls or whatever, those are awesome. That is what drives you on to keep doing it.
And the first question was about like the relationship with professionals. That's fun and everything, but I'm much happier. Like, I get much more. I'm friends with Chris and Tom now, and we're friends with Augie. We're friends with kind of Santos.
If you're not listening to Augie the Bleak's Pipeline podcast, that's the show you need to be listening to every Tuesday. It's fantastic.
Plug.
Deepest pipes and all podcasts.
Augie was the first one. He was the first one podcasting. He's a columnist for Comic Book Resources, and he's the kind of person that we used to see at San Diego. And actually, we were like, "Oh, there's that Augie guy," and and then we start talking. We start podcasting, and now he and I email because he also works in computer programming. So we email maybe 10 emails a day. And it's some about comics, but actually more recently it's been more about photography.
Big Brother.
Big Brother, yeah, Big Brother.
Who out there now, because of listening to a podcast or posting on a podcast forum, knows someone that lives in a foreign country outside the United States? Raise your hands. How cool is that?